I don't know where we stood on Alden Ehrenreich like 5 or 6 years ago or whenever Solo came out, but I do think we've seen more than enough from Alden Ehrenreich, especially in recent, like last 2 or 3 years. We saw him in Oppenheimer, small role, but great. He's a good actor. I'm an Alden Ehrenreich guy. All right, Lights, Camera, Barstool review time. We're talking Fair Play, a Netflix movie starring the likes of Alden Ehrenreich and Phoebe Denver. Came out on Netflix, has very middle of the road audience scores for Rotten Tomatoes. Pretty high critic scores, though. 87% and then 51% for audiences. Divisive movie in terms of what people think about it. I'll give you the quick synopsis. An unexpected promotion at a cutthroat hedge fund pushes a newly engaged couple's relationship to the brink. If you peruse Rotten Tomatoes, you will see they do reference it's got a very 90s feel in terms of the type of erotic thriller, workplace type thriller that you'd get back from that era. I didn't give it a passing grade. I didn't particularly care for this movie. I think the style is lacking a lot. I give it a 64 out of 100.
Whoa.
I did not enjoy it. Pulls in a lot of nostalgia. Feels very similar to 1990s movies, which, again, I know Rotten Tomatoes said that, but I think that a lot of people reviewing have kind of noted that it has that feel. Some riveting stuff. Storylines gets intense at times, but I think it lacks the punch in style that is needed to deliver a story like this. Like, I think the acting is fine. We'll get into pros. I think the acting is definitely in the pros side, but it just did not really hit for me. I really didn't enjoy this movie at all.
Wow, that's surprising. I really liked it.
Oh, wow.
I really liked it quite a bit. I remember I texted you guys after I watched it. I was like, this is like one of my, probably like in my top 20 of the year. It's honestly probably even higher than that. Right now I have it like an 89. That's right.
Wow.
So I'm way above you guys.
Holy shit.
I think this movie does a lot of very, very cool stuff. And like you mentioned the acting, I think the acting, this is two of the better performances of the entire year.
I would agree on that. I think for me, that's like the main reason why like I found it more than watchable. I do think they're great. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I think is it kind of more so than in another movie. That is what kind of like helps it on a whole for the score, because the entire movie is based around them in such an intimate setting acting. So it influences the total overall score way more. Like, you know what I mean? Than some big action set piece or some big spanning all the bits. You're kind of just, this movie's kind of just like a play. You know what I mean? And it's just two actors going head to head, and both of them absolutely crushed it. And there's a lot of other stuff I really liked in this too. I'm shocked you guys, and I'm assuming you're going really low too, but we'll get into it in the meat and bones of the pros and cons. I really liked Fair Play though. I liked it quite a bit.
Yeah, no, I'm actually in between you. I'm at a 72 out of 100. So it is a passing grade. I do agree the acting was phenomenal, especially in spots where I don't think either of the leading roles were particularly easy, because it's a lot of internal conflict. But like Jeff said, I do think it lacked style, and we'll talk about it, but I fucking hated one of these main characters so goddamn much. To the point where it was kind of like, at one point I'm like, God damn, I might have to turn this off and come back later because I'm getting too frustrated. But 72 out of 100, I do think it's well made. I just wish there was a little bit more.
Interesting.
We'll talk about it, and I'll talk about like my feelings, my negatives and cons. But I do think 64, 7. Yeah, I think it. We have to start with pros. Pros wins out here. I think they're great. They are both great. I can't fault either performances, and I don't know where we stood on Alden Ehrenreich like 5 or 6 years ago or whenever Solo came out. But I do think we've seen more than enough from Alden Ehrenreich, especially in recent like last 2 or 3 years. We saw him in Oppenheimer, small role but great. He's a good actor. I'm an Alden Ehrenreich guy, and Phoebe Denver is good as well.
Yeah, I think that was the first thing I've seen Phoebe Denver in.
Yeah, she's a Bridgerton star, right?
That's why. Yeah, I watched Bridgerton.
So yeah, I didn't really know what to expect from her, but I thought she was, fucking crushed it. Like I said, the role demanded her to show a lot of internal conflict on her face, and she did about as good as you can ask. Like, you can see her, wheeling through like all of her emotions in so many different scenes.
Yeah, and there's
I did just pull up her filmography on Rotten Tomatoes just to make sure there's like nothing we forgot that she's not in. But yeah, Bridgerton. But then it also says guest Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Fallon Tonight Show has a 47% of Rotten Tomatoes. That's so funny to me. I don't know why. That's just
Is that from critics or audiences?
It's only audiences, but it's visually very funny to say. Sorry, continue, Kendra.
Yeah, so I got on my pros written out, and the first being I really like the setting, like the financial world, because the financial world I think is super, at least to us as being like so removed from it, very hyper cutthroat. And to me, in this the way they presented it, it was almost like a spinoff to like a Succession or something like that, right? Where like you're in this very intense, very calculated world where everything moves very fast. People are very like quick to emotion because of the stakes involved in everything. I really did like that, and I like that they kept things technical enough with the financial shit that they didn't dumb it down where it's like, hello, fellow kids, where we were just talking about with like
Dumb
the
money.
creator.
Oh, okay.
Where
Good.
they're like, oh, hack everything or whatever. Like they never got that dumb. They kept things technical enough where I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about, but that sounds right. You know what I mean? And like this thing sounds like they could be a real conversation. And I think again, Ehrenreich and Denver were near flawless performances, and their chemistry was weirdly very, very good for like again, one person I've never seen before, and another person I've never seen in like a really romantic sort of role or whatever you want to call it, like that sort of relationship dynamic before. And I think that the relationship dynamics in this were incredible because that is, I think, how all three of us would feel to an extent in put in that same exact situation of like if you're again, number one, listen to this movie, don't shit where you eat. Like if your fiance got promoted to a position that you were supposed to get, and like there's all these other dynamics to it, like he was sort of like a nepo baby kid or whatever. Like there's all these things at play, and I think they played that all out really, really well. And like you were saying with Denver having to work through all these things, there's so many different layers to all of these conversations and all of these moments where like she is empathetic to him because not only is she the one that told him he's getting the promotion, but she's like also like, I earned this, I deserve this. And then also she needs to like work through all these other things, like managing the faces, like when he's acting out and she knows he's pissed, she knows like all these things, having to like save face and still kind of be the boss more or less. Like there's so many layers to that performance, and especially for him as well. Like, and that to me, I think was super impressive the way they scripted that, and then also the way that both of them performed it because it is very intense.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And also Eddie Marzan, I love this dude.
Eddie Marzan is about as good as I've ever seen him be.
Every time he shows up, he's just like, I know this guy's about to be a fucking rat. I know
he is scum. He's
just a rat actor, and he's always crushes it. He was so good.
He was great here.
But yeah, and I really, there's so much I think to really love about this movie. There is one massive con, which to me takes it away from me. Like, holy shit, you got to go watch this. But I'm sure that we'll talk about that. I'm assuming if you guys have the same issue,
we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I think the pros are very clearly, even if you don't love the movie itself, like they do put in great performances. I think there's really no doubt about that. Cons for me though, we can go into cons next. Is I think it's just style. It just for me, it's the look and feel of this movie just feels so dull that it can't carry how intense because the movie's fucking intense. Like the story is intense, but I didn't love the look of the movie. It just is missing something. And it actually made me go back and watch like trailers and clips from old, like kind of these like erotic 90s thrillers. And there's just something that it is lacking. I don't know what it is. Like it's just lacking a substance and visual style to it that makes me not feel that connected to it. I don't know what it is. I just could never get into it. I could never get into the movie.
I almost kind of liked the way that they stylistically put it together because this world.
Some people have loved it. You're not alone on that at all.
Yeah, like this world, I think of like the financial bullshit world, like that is so like blue filter dull. You know what I mean? Like that to me is like what that screams to me. And the same thing, even like with Succession, for example, like kind of color drained out a little bit and dull because it's something that I think most of us don't understand. That it's so cutthroat and robotic, and like that part of their lives, which you see in. Like when they're at work and everything, that part of it is very zeroed in. And then when they get back, they're like back to being normal human beings. And I think that it kind of lightens up a little bit then, at least maybe saturation wise. I don't really fucking know. But yeah, I think that kind of worked for this case. And yeah, I'm not expecting it to, they say erotic thriller in this, right? And like, yeah, sure. There's erotic. I don't feel like it was an erotic thriller.
I don't either. Like there's
they
a couple,
build that wrong.
I get it. Like I fully get it. I've seen people say that it's not at all. I'm like, I guess you're saying the same thing, but I don't know. I kind of,
I think they build it to be.
I see what they're going for. They're going for that.
What was that Michael Douglas movie with? I think it was Carrie Ann Moss or something. Where it's like that was like to me they did the play about it and something. And Kimmy Schmidt, fuck, I forget the name of it is. But like all those '90s erotic thrillers, I feel like go for a very different vibe than I think this is going for. And I think billing it as an erotic thriller was wrong. I don't think that that's what this movie was, and I don't think they should have presented it that way. Maybe they thought more people would click. They're like, yeah, people are fucking in this. You got to come watch. Like. That's not, I don't think, really what it was. I don't know if that's just me, but like I don't think that's what they were shooting for. At least the director, anyway.
Yeah, no, I didn't see the erotic thriller. I mean, the sex scene was nice.
Yeah,
Two very
I mean, it's not. I mean, speaking of Michael Douglas, it's not
Basic Instinct.
Basic Instinct or fucking Fatal Attraction, stuff like that.
Oh, fuck, what's it called? It's a good one where.
But I think it feels like that's what they're going for. At least, like it feels like that's like the trope, and that's like the style and feel they want. I don't know. Succession's not a bad example as to like this type of setting, but Succession's also laced with so much humor that I think it cuts into what at times can be like a dull looking office and conference room. Where this, it's so fucking intense that for me, it's like, and rather negative at many times in the movie. Like it just takes it down too many levels for me to even remotely enjoy is kind of the wrong word. It's not like very enjoyable subject matter, but for me to really connect with it on an emotional level, it's just so down and dour. And that includes the look of it that I just couldn't vibe with it as much as I think it wanted you to. I think they wanted to go for that. I can see the argument you guys are making that it's not.
Yeah, I think they build
true.
Yeah, I don't think they build that correctly because that's what I expected too, just based off of like the previews and stuff like that. Like, check out Netflix's new erotic thriller. Like, it's not really. It's kind of
definitely related. Yeah, I think. I mean,
it's just basically a drama.
Yeah,
thriller is probably the word out of the two words. I'd say it's probably more erotic drama. There's definitely an erotic. I mean, it's relationship erotic. Like, yeah, thriller. I'm okay if you take out the word thriller, but like it's trying to hearken to those '90s movies to an extent. Like it still feels like that's the world they want it to live in.
I'll be honest.
Never really hit for me.
My biggest frustration, I alluded to this at the start, was just Alden Ehrenreich's character in general was just so frustrating to watch as a man who that is my dream life right there. And he's just like, no, I don't want it. I don't want it. It's like, dude, you have a wife pulling in $500,000 bonuses on a Wednesday offering to put you up in a Soho hotel. You're acting like a little bitch boy listening to Joe Rogan's podcast. I don't even.
That's what I think they set him up right for, is that he's like this Nepo baby kid that like he expected to be the guy. You know what I mean? He wants to be the dude, and he doesn't respect her enough to think that she could do that.
They set it up perfectly, but the character I just hate so much. It's like in Order of the Phoenix with Dolores Umbridge. Mm. It's like that is a great character. Does not change the fact that every second she's on screen, I want to rip my fucking eyeballs out, my ears out, and quit watching the movie because I hate her so much.
Because we're dirt poor and we expect like that's what the world that we want to be in. And like he has always been in that world and he doesn't like it means nothing to him.
Also, another thing, she gets a $500,000 bonus. What are you still doing in that fucking apartment?
Yeah.
Move out the next day. Get out of that shithole. I don't know where she was staying. Somewhere deep in Brooklyn. I don't know where it was.
That was crazy. But yeah, I think the biggest con for me is that the ending for this movie was good. It was not for this movie. You know what I mean? Like this would be a great ending in a different movie, but I feel like it was a cool scene. It was cool lines. Like I'm done with you, get like all that shit. It so violated the more grounded level that the first like 3/4 of this movie kind of establishes. You know what I mean? It's like very like, hey, these are rich people or whatever, but it's more of like you can like see the situation from a grounded level, and then that is like so over the top, and I feel like that's where like the thriller part they try to add in. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, you have this one movie that's doing so well through these 3/4 as what it is, which is more of a drama. You know what I mean? Just like a straight up relationship drama. And then the last like 10, 15 minutes, they kind of just shoehorn in. No, it's really just the last 10 minutes. They shoehorn in, thriller. Thriller. We got thriller here. We got crazy lines. And that kind of violates the spirit. You know what? And even just after saying that out loud, I think I'm going to bump my score down a little bit. I think I'm going to go down to like an 84 after even just saying, because that really does piss me off the more I think about that ending, because it just they had such a great thing going until that last 10 minutes. And they're just kind of like, let's just fucking make it a thriller. Why not? And that to me is just so dumb.
See, I felt like they were trying to give like Phoebe Deniver's character like her big moment. And that's kind of like how they got there.
But it's so not in the spirit of the movie. You know what I mean? That moment.
Yes.
Like that moment would be really cool in a different movie. You know what I mean?
Especially in relation to Deniver's character, who's so under control.
Exactly.
The movie, and so like calculated in everything she does to pull out a knife and start. I mean, obviously I wouldn't blame her for pulling out the knife, but it was kind of like a betrayal of like who she was throughout the movie.
Just a portrayal of the spirit of the movie. Again, like through the first, it's very, very like you could see this being a real situation that happens, right?
Oh, for sure.
But then like also you got someone fucking stabbing somebody, and then like you're no longer in the realm of like sort of reality, and that kind of it just kind of fucks it up. And then I think that for what they established through those first like that beginning, like again majority of the movie, that kind of pisses me off. No, I'm thinking about it. It's pissing me off more and more.
You know, I that Luke hated The Last Jedi. He was a big
TLJ guy. Yeah,
I just like they're unlikable to I think probably into intent, and I think it's so down in terms of like the emotion and the mood of the movie, again intentionally, but for me it descends into such an unlikable level where I don't have that substance and style in terms of what I would like to kind of, I guess, cross paths with like what they're trying to tell story wise, that it just pulled me out of it. I was like, this is just miserable for me to watch. Though again, the reason why I even gave it what I did is because I do think the acting is good.
I was like, I think again, two of the better performances of the entire year.
Yeah,
like,
they were
so impressed, especially like Aaron Reich, the levels he gets to, and like obviously Denver too, but like Aaron Reich, the levels he gets to based off of what we've seen from his career so far, are crazy.
What do we
final
call
thoughts?
What do we call the Alden Ehrenreich comeback? Can there
even be a comeback?
Or the second
where was
Reich?
he to begin with?
Aldenisance?
Yeah, no, second Reich.
Yeah, Fair Play is definitely one of, I think Fair Play is one of the better Netflix releases that you'll see. Whether you love it or not, I think comes down to how well you connect with what's fairly divisive material. It's a pretty intense movie. May not be for everyone, but I think we can definitely agree that the acting was solid.
Yeah,
solid acting in the movie.
Eddie Marzan, you fucking rat! I love you so much.
He's a rat. He's
him and Toby Jones are like two sides of the same coin. You know what I mean? Short little rat man. It's like, but Toby Jones can be lovable, and Eddie Marzan can't.
The head shake.
Yeah. 64 from me, 84 from Ken Jack.
Yeah.
And then in the middle, kind of right down in the middle, it's Gooch with 72.
Yep.
Just say 74, so we're 10 off on each.
Yeah.
No.
Bump it up. Bump it up.
It doesn't deserve that.
That's like our version of Scorigami.
Yeah.
I want them to remake this movie, but do it in like the sports gambling world. Like some dude's wife just becomes
just describing Uncut Gems, basically.
I did. By the way, that's the thing I saw a lot of people compare to, which really pissed me off. I didn't want to reference it. I'm glad you guys brought it up. A lot of reviewers are talking about comparing it to like Uncut Gems and Safdie, and I was like, I do not get that.
It's so frantic and fucking crazy and anxiety inducing. It's not even close to this.
That's maybe the best. I probably should have brought that up. Uncut Gems and Good Time, like those are negative, down, depressing, like not very good story in terms of what's happening. But the style is so it's almost it's like intoxicating for viewers. It's unbelievable to look at. That I think completely contrasts with the story and why it works so well. Especially Good Time. Uncut Gems is it's fucking they fucking dies in the end. It's not like Uncut Gems is positive. Good Time I'd probably use a little more like down and negative, but again, the style of what the Safdies do makes those also so great and work, where I think this one just lacked that.
I don't think the Safdie brothers style would fit at all with a movie like this. Just way too.
Maybe not, but there's at least
of a storyline.
Right, maybe not the Safdie style, but like there is there's a style that's noticeable with those, which contrasts to the story. I think
it works with the Safdies because the stories are so ridiculous, and this is so normal that I think if you stylize it too much, then it becomes something other than what it is, which is supposed to be a kind of normal thing.
Could have been worse. You're right. I could be dead wrong. Could have been worse, but I just thought I just kind of felt bland. I don't know. Kind of felt bland. I mean, it's better than most Netflix things, though. That's for sure. Better than most things they drop on their platform. Like it's definitely like if you're gonna watch things on Netflix, this is up there. Though so was a horror movie that was very enjoyable too. I know you guys talked about.
Totally Killer? That was Prime.
Totally
right?
Killer. Yeah,
that's Prime. Yeah.
They release some good things now and then. That's it. That's our review of Fair Play. Johnny Fairplay. not a biopic on the Survivor contestant, the legend himself.
Legend. You know, more people should know Johnny Fairplay. I think he is, to me, way more. And this is someone that's not a Survivor fan at all. I think I think of Survivor. Like that's when I think of Survivor contestant.
Yeah.
Fairplay.
Fairplay, Boston Rob. Johnny Fairplay's back was broken by Danny Bonaducci at the porn awards.
Yeah,
Danny Bonaducci threw him over his shoulder. Yeah, because I think Fairplay tried to kiss him or something, or he humped him.
Yeah,
that's just a different era. That's just we don't live in that time anymore.
What was this? What's this series called? Danny Bonaducci was like Breaking Danny or some shit. You know what I mean? It was like
I know Breaking Bonaducci, right?
Breaking Bonaducci. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Stupid.
That's it. Killers of the Flower Moon next week. That's a big review.
Let's go.
Yeah. Very, very excited to see that. It's gonna be a tough one. How many times do I pee during that 3.5 hour long movie? It's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah, you need a catheter for that one.
I may just may piss in the seat. Just wear a diaper to the movie. No, very, very excited for that. High expectations, and I would be shocked if we didn't like that movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's Marty, baby. Cinema. That's it. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video. Helps us out a lot for Ken, Jack, and Gooch. We'll talk to you next time.